rain on Threshold Station was wrong. All wrong. It did not fall straight down like earth rain. It came at you sideways, driven by winds that howled through the twisted metal corridors of the station, and it burned. Not much. Just enough to sting exposed skin. Just enough to remind you that this was not home and never would be. Tyler Hayes pulled his coat tighter around his shoulders and kept his head down. The fabric was worn thin in places, patched in others. But it kept most of the rain off, and that was good enough. His shift at the clinic had run late again. 16 hours. His feet hurt. His back hurt. Everything hurt. But that was the job. That was life on a border station where medicine was scarce and patients were many. The alley between the HAB units and the market district was the fastest route home. Tyler had walked it 1,000 times. Knew every puddle, every broken grate, every spot where the overhead lights flickered. Tonight something was different. He heard it before he saw it. A sound that cut through the rain and the wind. Low and rattling. Wet. The kind of sound that meant something was dying. Tyler had heard it before. In field hospitals. In emergency rooms. In the back of transport ships bringing wounded soldiers home. Pain sounded the same no matter what language you spoke. Tyler stopped walking. His hand went to the medical kit he always carried. Old habit. Never go anywhere without it. He turned toward the sound. The creature lay in a pool of water and blood. At first Tyler thought it was a vehicle, something that had crashed. But then it moved, just a little. A shudder that ran down its entire body. Not a vehicle. Alive. Tyler's breath caught in his throat. The thing was massive. Easily 12 feet from nose to tail. Maybe longer. Hard to tell with it. Curled up like that. Its body was covered in scales that looked black in the dim light. But when the flickering overhead lamp hit them right, they shimmered midnight blue. Beautiful and terrible at the same time. Blood pooled beneath it. Dark blood. Almost purple. It mixed with the rain and spread across the alley floor in thin streams. The creature's breathing was shallow. Desperate. Each breath sounded like it might be the last. Tyler's comm unit crackled to life. Ben's voice came through. Ben worked the night shift at the clinic. Good kid. Smart. But young. Still learning. Tyler, you there? Your tracker says you stopped moving. You okay? Yeah, Tyler said. He could not take his eyes off the creature. I'm fine. Just found something. Found what? I'm not sure. Some kind of animal. Big one. It's hurt bad. There was a pause. Then Ben's voice came back sharp and urgent. Where are you? What does it look like? Tyler described it. The size. The scales. The golden eyes that he could just barely see through half-closed lids. Oh, hell, Ben said. Tyler, listen to me. Walk away. Right now. Don't touch it. Don't get close. It's dying, Ben. That's a Crithian war beast. Do you understand what I'm saying? Crithian. War. Beast. Those things cost more than this entire station. They're dangerous. They're property of the elite. You can't. Tyler was already kneeling beside it. The rain soaked through his pants immediately. Cold. Uncomfortable. He ignored it. Up close the creature was even more impressive. And more hurt. He could see the wounds now. Deep gashes along its side. Burns. And something else. Something wrong with the color of its scales around the wounds. Poison, maybe. Toxin. The beast I cracked open. Just one. The other was swollen shut. That eye was gold. Pure gold. Like molten metal. It looked at Tyler with an intelligence that was startling. This was not a dumb animal. This was something that thought, that understood, and it was afraid. Tyler recognized fear. Had seen it in the eyes of dying patients. In the faces of people who knew they were out of time. This creature knew. It knew it was dying. Hey there, big guy, Tyler murmured. He kept his voice soft. Calm. The way you talk to a spooked horse or a scared dog. Let's see what we can do, okay? His calm exploded with Ben's voice. Tyler, no. Don't. Tyler turned off the comm. He needed to focus. He opened his medical kit. Started pulling out supplies. Bandages. Antiseptic. Stimulants. Nothing in the kit was designed for a creature this size. For an alien physiology. But medicine was medicine. Biology was biology. The basics were the same. Stop the bleeding. Stabilize. Keep the heart beating. Figure out the rest later. The wounds were deep. Tyler worked fast. His hands moved on autopilot. Years of training. Years of practice. He cleaned. He sutured. The beast flinched but did not fight. Just lay there breathing those terrible shallow breaths. The toxin was the real problem. Tyler could see it spreading. Discoloration creeping along the scales, moving toward vital organs. The creature's heartbeat was irregular, weakening. Tyler looked at his supplies, looked at the beast, made a decision that was probably insane. He had a portable dialysis unit in his kit, designed for human kidneys, for filtering human blood when the organs failed. It was not meant for this, not meant for a creature 10 times heavier with completely different biology. But it was all he had. Tyler hooked it up, used the largest catheters he had. They barely fit into the beast's veins. He set the machine to filter slowly, carefully, watching for any sign that it was doing more harm than good. The rain kept falling. The hours crept by. Tyler worked in the dim light and the cold. His knees went numb from kneeling on the wet ground. His fingers cramped. He ignored it all. The beast's breathing changed. Slowly at first, then more noticeably. The terrible rattle faded. The breaths came deeper, steadier. Tyler watched the sun rise over Threshold Station. It was not a pretty sunrise. The station blocked most of the light, but he could see the sky turning from black to gray. Dawn coming whether they were ready or not. The beast's eye opened again, both eyes this time. Golden, alert, it looked at Tyler, really looked at him. Then it made a sound, low, rumbling, not pain, something else. Gratitude, maybe. Tyler allowed himself a small smile. You're going to make it, big guy. That was when he heard the footsteps, lots of them, marching in formation. Tyler turned. 12 figures emerged from a morning mist. Soldiers, guards. Their armor was black and polished, expensive, military grade. And on their chest plates was a symbol that made Tyler's stomach drop, the royal crest, the symbol of the Crithian Empire, the mark of Empress Ashira herself. Oh no, the guards surrounded him, weapons raised, not pointed at him, but ready, aimed at the ground. A clear threat. The captain stepped forward, tall, armored, face hidden behind a helmet that reflected Tyler's own pale expression back at him. You will come with us, the captain said. The voice was mechanical, filtered through the helmet. Cold. The Empress wants to see you. Tyler's blood went cold, colder than the rain, colder than the night he had just spent kneeling on stone. Everyone knew about Empress Ashira, the Iron Flame, conqueror of 47 star systems, the ruler who showed no mercy to her enemies, who crushed rebellions before they could start, who had turned the Crithian Empire into the most feared power in this sector of the galaxy. And Tyler had just spent the night with his hands all over her personal war beast. He stood slowly. His legs protested, stiff from hours of kneeling. The guards moved with him, keeping him surrounded. Is he? Tyler gestured to the beast. Is he going to be okay? The captain tilted his head, like the question confused him. The beast will be transported to the Imperial ship. Proper medical care will be provided. He needs rest and monitoring. The toxin. You will explain everything to the Empress. 2 guards took Tyler by the arms. Not rough, but firm. He was not going to be given a choice about this. They led him toward a transport ship he had not even noticed. Sleek, black, powerful. Nothing like the rust buckets that usually docked at Threshold Station. Tyler looked back once. The war beast was watching him, those golden eyes tracking his movement. The creature made that rumbling sound again. Then Tyler was pushed into the transport, and the door sealed shut behind him. He was going to meet the Empress, the woman they called the Iron Flame. This was either going to be the best day of his life or the last day of his life. Tyler had a sinking feeling it was going to be the latter. The warship made Threshold Station look like a toy. Tyler had seen big ships before, freighters, colony transports, military cruisers during the war. But this was different. This was a mobile fortress, a city that flew through space and carried enough firepower to level a planet. The transport had docked in a bay that could have held 50 ships the size of the one Tyler arrived in. Everything was black metal, polished to a mirror shine, sharp edges and clean lines. No rust, no patches, no signs of age or wear. This was wealth. This was power. The guards escorted him through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. Their boots rang on the metal floor in perfect rhythm. Left, right, left, right. Tyler's worn shoes squeaked. Awkward, out of place. Soldiers lined the hallways. Crithian warriors in full armor. They stopped what they were doing to stare as Tyler passed. Their eyes tracked him. Some looked curious. Most looked hostile. "That's a human?" One whispered to another. The translator in Tyler's ear picked it up, converted it to English. "He touched car," another soldier said. The tone was horrified, like Tyler had committed some unthinkable crime. Tyler looked down at his hands. They were still dirty from the alley. Dry blood under his fingernails. His own blood and the beast's blood mixed together. He had not been given time to clean up, to prepare, just grabbed and brought here. His hands were bound, not with metal cuffs. Something else, some kind of energy field that held his wrists together in front of him. It did not hurt, was not even tight, but it was there, visible, a clear message to everyone who saw him. Prisoner. The corridors opened into larger spaces. Halls, meeting rooms, everything decorated with that same black metal and sharp aesthetic. Banners hung from the ceilings. The royal crest everywhere. A stylized flame wrapped around a star. The symbol of the empire. They climbed stairs. Lots of stairs. Tyler's legs burned. He was tired, sore, had not slept, had not eaten since yesterday. But the guards did not slow down, did not care. Finally, they reached a massive door, 20 feet tall, made of some dark material that seemed to absorb light. Guards stood on either side. They nodded to Tyler's escort. The door swung open silently. The throne room beyond was huge, so huge that Tyler could not see the far wall through the haze. His entire colony could have fit inside this one room. The ceiling was lost in shadows somewhere far above. Pillars rose like trees, and between the pillars stood more soldiers, more guards, hundreds of them, all watching. The floor was polished stone, black, reflective. Tyler could see himself in it as they walked. Small, dirty, out of place. At the far end of the room was a raised platform. Steps led up to it, and on top of the platform sat a throne, and on the throne sat Empress Ashira. Tyler had seen pictures. Everyone had seen pictures. The Empress was famous, feared. Her face was on propaganda posters, on news feeds, in history books. But pictures did not do her justice. She was younger than he expected, maybe 30 in human years, though it was hard to tell with Crithians. Her skin was pale silver, smooth, perfect, like she was carved from metal. Her hair was black, blacker than space itself. It fell in waves past her shoulders, straight and shining. But her eyes were what caught Tyler's attention and would not let go. They were gold, not yellow, not amber. Gold, like molten metal, like fire, like the eyes of the war beast he had saved. Those eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made him want to step back, want to look away. But he did not, could not. She wore armor, but not the same kind as her soldiers. Hers was ceremonial, elegant, black and silver, with the royal crest prominent on the chest. A crown sat on her head, simple, a circlet of dark metal, with a single red gem at the center. And at her feet lay Carr. The war beast was alive, alert. Those golden eyes were open and bright. The wounds Tyler had sutured were bandaged properly now. Professional work. The beast looked 1,000 times better than it had in that alley. When Carr saw Tyler, its tail twitched. Just once. A small movement. Recognition. The guards brought Tyler to the base of the platform. Made him stop. Made him stand there while the entire court stared at him. He could feel hundreds of eyes on his back. Judging. Wondering what the Empress would do to the human who had dared touch her precious beast. Ashira did not speak immediately. She just looked at him. Studied him, those golden eyes moving from his face to his dirty hands, to his worn shoes, and back again. The silence stretched, became uncomfortable, became painful. Tyler's heart hammered in his chest. His mouth was dry. Finally she spoke. "You saved him." Her voice was quiet, soft even, but it carried through the enormous room like she had shouted. And there was something under the softness, something sharp, dangerous quiet, the kind of quiet that came before violence. Tyler swallowed, found his voice. "I did what I could. My physician said he would die." Ashira leaned forward slightly. Her hands gripped the armrest of her throne. "They said the poison was too advanced, that there was nothing to be done. I was told to say my goodbyes." "The poison was advanced," Tyler said, "but not impossible. I've seen similar toxins used in the war. Different biology, but similar mechanism. I just had to filter it out fast enough. You used human equipment on a Crithian war beast. I used what I had." Something flickered in those golden eyes. Surprise, maybe, or amusement. Hard to tell. "Do you know who I am?" Ashira asked. Tyler nodded. "The Iron Flame, conqueror of 47 systems, Empress of the Crithian Empire, the ruler who shows no mercy to enemies." The court murmured, whispers echoing through the vast space. The human knew who he stood before, knew what he faced. And yet, Ashira said slowly, "You touched my beast, my most precious possession, without permission, without authorization, without even a thought for the consequences." Her voice was getting quieter, more dangerous. "You place your human hands on property of the imperial crown. You used untested methods. You risked causing more harm. You could have killed him with your incompetence." Tyler felt his face flush, anger rising despite his fear. "I saved his life." Without fear, Ashira continued like he had not spoken, without hesitation. "Why?" "Because he was dying." Tyler's voice came out harder than he intended, louder. "Because I'm a medic, because that's what I do. I don't care if it's a human, or an alien, or a war beast worth more than my entire station. I see something suffering, and I help. That's the job." The silence that followed was absolute. No one breathed. No one moved. Tyler realized what he had just done. He had raised his voice to the Empress, in her own throne room, in front of her entire court. He was dead. He was absolutely dead. Then Ashira smiled. It was just a small smile, barely there, the corner of her mouth lifting slightly, but it transformed her face, made her look less like a conqueror and more like a person. "You were too busy trying to save a life to be scared," she said. It was not a question, just an observation. But Tyler nodded anyway. Ashira stood. The movement was fluid, graceful. She descended the steps from her throne. Carr rose with her. The beast moved to her side, still weak but mobile. His tail swept back and forth slowly. She stopped a few feet from Tyler. Up close, she was taller than he expected, nearly 6 feet. She looked down at him with those impossible golden eyes. "My court expects me to execute you," Ashira said conversationally. "You touched royal property. You acted without permission. These are crimes." Tyler's throat was tight. "I understand. But Carr is alive because of you. My physicians would have let him die. You refuse to do the same." She tilted her head slightly. "That deserves recognition. Reward." The energy field around Tyler's wrists disappeared. His hands fell free. He rubbed his wrists automatically even though they did not hurt. "Name your reward," Ashira said. "Wealth, status, a position in my court, land, title, whatever you want. Name it and it's yours." The court leaned forward, waiting, wondering what the human would ask for. Tyler thought about it, about what he could ask for, what he could gain. He could ask to be rich, to never work another day in his life, to live in luxury. But that was not who he was. "I want funding for my clinic," Tyler said, "and medical supplies for Threshold Station. The people there need help. They deserve better than what they have." The court gasped. Ashira's eyes widened slightly, just for a moment. Then her expression settled back to neutral. "You asked for nothing for yourself?" she asked. "I did my job. They need the help more than I do." Ashira stared at him for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone in the room. She laughed. Just a small sound. Brief, but genuine. "You are a very strange human, Tyler Hayes," she said. Tyler had walked into that throne room expecting to die. Instead, he got everything he asked for and more than he knew what to do with. The funding came through within hours. Enough credits to run his clinic for 10 years. Enough to expand, to hire more staff, to actually help people instead of just keeping them alive long enough to limp away. Medical supplies followed. Shipments, crates and crates of equipment that Threshold Station had never seen before. Top grade, military quality, the kind of gear that could save lives. But there was a catch. There was always a catch. "You will stay aboard this ship," Ashira said. Her tone made it clear this was not up for discussion. "Temporarily. Car's recovery is not complete. You will oversee it personally." The advisor beside her throne leaned in, whispered urgently in her ear. Tyler caught fragments through his translator. Words like inappropriate and security risk and unprecedented. The advisor did not look happy. None of the court looked happy. Ashira waved the advisor away with a gesture that was pure dismissal. Her golden eyes stayed locked on Tyler. "Do you object?" Tyler thought about it. About his clinic. About the patients waiting for him. About Ben trying to handle everything alone. But he also thought about Carr. About the toxin still working its way through the beast system. About the recovery that would take weeks, not days. "No," Tyler said. "I don't object." Good. The temporary stay was supposed to last a few days. Maybe a week at most. Time enough to make sure Carr was stable. That the toxin was fully cleared. That there would be no relapses. Days became a week. A week became 2. 2 became a month. Tyler lost track of time on the warship. There were no real days here. No sunrise or sunset. Just a continuum of engines and the artificial light that stayed the same brightness all the time. The ship kept military hours. Shifts. Watches. But Tyler was not military, so he kept his own schedule. They gave him quarters. Called it temporary housing, but it was nicer than anywhere Tyler had ever lived. A real bed, not a cot, actual sheets. A private bathroom with a shower that had hot water whenever he wanted. A desk, a sitting area. Windows that showed the stars sliding past as the ship traveled. It was too much. Too nice. Tyler felt like an imposter every time he walked through the door. But Carr did not care about any of that. The war beast had decided Tyler was his person now. All 12 feet and several hundred pounds of scale muscle followed Tyler everywhere. Through corridors. To the medical bay. To the mess hall where Tyler ate. Carr could not fit through some doors, so he would wait outside. Patient. Silent. Just watching through the opening until Tyler came back out. It scared people. Soldiers would flatten themselves against walls when they saw Carr coming. Would whisper and point. The war beast that had nearly died. The beast that belonged to the Empress herself. And now it followed a human around like a lost puppy. Tyler found it funny. Carr was dangerous, sure. Could kill him without effort if the beast wanted to. But those golden eyes were gentle when they looked at Tyler. Carr would lower his massive head so Tyler could check the healing wounds. Would hold perfectly still during examinations. Would make that low rumbling sound when Tyler scratched behind his ear ridges. "You're just a big soft, aren't you?" Tyler said one afternoon. He was checking Carr's vitals. Heart rate good. Breathing clear. The scales around the old wounds were growing back properly. Healthy coloring. Carr's tail thumped against the floor. The sound echoed through the medical bay. Tyler saw Ashira more than he expected. At first it was formal. She would summon him to report on Carr's condition. Tyler would stand in her office and give medical updates while she sat behind a desk that was probably worth more than Tyler's entire life savings. She would ask questions. Clinical questions. Professional. Then dismiss him. But after the first week, things changed. Ashira started appearing in the medical bay during Tyler's examinations. She would stand in the corner, silent, watching. Her presence made the other medical staff nervous, but Tyler got used to it. Would explain what he was doing as he worked. Point out improvements. Areas that still needed attention. The toxin affected his nervous system. Tyler said one day he was running a scanner along Carr's spine. See this reading? The nerve response time is still slower than it should be. Not dangerous. Just means he'll be a bit sluggish for another week or two. Ashira moved closer, looked at the scanner display. Will it be permanent? No. Full recovery expected. Just takes time. She nodded, reached out, and ran her hand along Car's scales. The gesture was gentle, affectionate. For a moment, she was not the Iron Flame, not the conqueror, just a person worried about her companion. Then the moment passed. She straightened, back to being the Empress. Continue your work. But she started coming more often, and not just to the medical bay. There was a garden on the ship, an actual garden, a huge space with real plants and real soil, and a ceiling that simulated sunlight. Carr loved it there, would spend hours dozing in the warm artificial sun. Tyler started taking his breaks in the garden, found a bench near where Carr liked to sleep, would sit and read medical journals on his datapad, enjoy the quiet. Ashira found him there one evening. The ship's lights had dimmed to simulate night. The garden was peaceful, almost Earth-like if Tyler did not look too close at the plants. She did not announce herself, just appeared out of the shadows and sat on the other end of the bench. She was not wearing her armor, just simple clothes, dark pants, a loose shirt. Her hair was down, unbound. She looked younger like this, less intimidating. They sat in silence for a while. Carr dozed nearby, his breathing slow and even. Content. Why a medic? Ashira asked suddenly. Tyler looked over. She was staring at the plants, not at him, like the question was casual, like she did not really care about the answer. But Tyler knew better. This woman did not ask casual questions. Someone has to care, Tyler said. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Tyler set down his datapad. The galaxy is big, dangerous. People get hurt, sick, broken. Someone has to put them back together. Even for beasts? Ashira asked. Even for aliens? For those who are not your own kind? Life is life, Tyler said simply. Doesn't matter what shape it comes in. Doesn't matter where it's from. If it's suffering, and I can help, then I help. That's what being a medic means. Ashira turned to look at him. Really look at him. Those gold eyes searching his face for something. My court thinks I'm mad, she said quietly, keeping you here. A human, so close to me, to Carr. They say it's dangerous, that you could be a spy, an assassin, that your kindness is an act. Is it mad? Tyler asked. Perhaps. The corner of her mouth lifted, almost a smile. Not quite, but Carr likes you. He never liked anyone but me, not my advisors, not my guards, just me, until you. As if on cue, Carr's tail thumped against the ground, still asleep but aware of them somehow, agreeing with his person. He's a good judge of character, Tyler said. Better than most people I know. Ashira leaned back against the bench, looked up at the false sky above them. Do you know what they call me? The Iron Flame, the Merciless, the Conqueror. I've destroyed entire fleets, crushed rebellions, executed traitors without hesitation. I've heard the stories. And yet, you're not afraid of me. Why? Tyler thought about that, about the woman sitting next to him, about the Empress who ruled an empire with an iron fist, about the person underneath the crown. I see what you do when no one's watching, Tyler said. The way you touch Carr, like he's precious, like he matters more than all the fleets and rebellions and empires. That's not someone I need to fear. Ashira was quiet for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice was softer, almost vulnerable. He was a gift from my mother, before she died, before I became this. She gestured at herself, at the Empress, back when I was just Ashira, just a girl who loved her beast and wanted to explore the stars. You're still that person, Tyler said. Am I? She looked at him. Sometimes I'm not sure anymore. They sat together as the garden lights dimmed further. Carr slept. The ship hummed around them. And for a little while the Empress and the medic were just two people sharing a quiet moment in a garden far from home. When Tyler finally left to go back to his quarters, Ashira was still sitting there, staring at the false stars, looking more alone than anyone Tyler had ever seen. He made a decision then. He would stay, however long she needed him to stay, however long Carr needed to recover, because someone had to care. And right now that someone was him. Tyler had been reviewing medical data when the alarm went off. The sound cut through the quiet of the medical bay like a knife. Sharp, urgent, the kind of alarm that meant someone was dying. He was on his feet before his brain fully processed what was happening. The medical displays all flash red. Life signs critical. Location marker, showing Carr's position in the garden. Tyler ran, grabbed his emergency kit. His feet pounded against the metal floors. Guards shouted questions as he passed. He ignored them, did not have time to explain, did not have breath to waste on words. The garden doors were already open. Someone had gotten there first. Tyler pushed through a crowd of guards and staff, all standing frozen, all staring. Carr lay on the ground convulsing. His massive body jerked and twisted, muscles spasming out of control. Foam leaked from his mouth, white and thick. His eyes were rolled back, showing only white. His claws scraped against the floor, leaving deep gouges in the stone. Poison, Tyler said immediately. He had seen this before. Different species, different circumstances. But the signs were unmistakable. He dropped to his knees beside the beast, started pulling supplies from his kit. His hands moved automatically. Training taking over. Check airway, check breathing, check circulation. The basics never changed no matter what you were treating. Carr's heartbeat was erratic, racing then slowing then racing again. His breathing was shallow and wet, fluid in the lungs. Tyler could hear it, the terrible rattling sound. "I need help," Tyler shouted. "Medical team, now, bring the portable filtration unit and the full toxicology kit. Move." Staff scattered, running to obey. But Tyler did not wait for them, could not wait. He was already working, establishing in 4-line in one of Carr's major veins. The needle was designed for humans. Too small, but it was what he had. He used 3 of them, got a line running, started fluids. Anything to buy time. This poison was different from the last one. Worse. Tyler could see it working through Carr's system in real time. The scales were darkening, turning black from the inside out, spreading from the beast's core outward. This was not environmental toxin, not something Carr had encountered by accident. This was designed, manufactured, made specifically to kill Crithian biology. The door slammed open again. Tyler expected medical staff. Instead, Ashira burst through. She was not wearing her armor, just the simple clothes she wore in private. Her hair was loose, wild. Her face was a mass of control, but Tyler could see the cracks, the fear bleeding through. Her hands shook as she dropped to her knees beside Carr. She touched the scales, ran her fingers over the darkening patches. "No," she whispered. "No, not again. Not like this." "Your Majesty, you should not be here," one of the guards started. "Silence." The word was a whip crack. Absolute authority. The guard stepped back. Ashira looked at Tyler. Those golden eyes were wide. Desperate. "Save him," she said quietly. It was not an order. It was a plea. "Please." Tyler nodded. "I will, but I need you to trust me. This is going to get bad before it gets better." The medical team arrived. Equipment, supplies. Tyler started barking orders. Set up the filtration system. Prepare the analysis scanner. He needed to know exactly what this poison was. Needed to synthesize an antitoxin. Needed to do it fast. Carr's convulsions were getting worse. His body was trying to fight the poison, and losing. Tyler administered sedatives, muscle relaxants, anything to stop the seizures before they caused permanent damage. Hours blurred together. Tyler worked in a state of focus intensity that blocked out everything else. The world narrowed to Carr's vital signs, to the readings on the scanners, to the slow synthesis of an antitoxin that might or might not work. He ran blood samples through the analyzer, compared the toxin structure to known poisons in the database, found partial matches, started building a counteragent molecule by molecule. It was guesswork, educated guesswork, but still guessing. One wrong combination, and he could make things worse. Could kill Carr faster than the poison would. Ashira never left. She knelt beside her beast the entire time, whispering in her own language. Words Tyler's translator did not pick up. Maybe prayer, maybe memories, maybe just comfort. Her hand never left Car's side. Even when the medical staff tried to move her back, tried to give Tyler space to work, she stayed. Tyler synthesized the first version of the antitoxin after 3 hours, tested it on a blood sample, watched under the microscope as the molecules interacted. The toxin structure broke down, dissolved. The blood sample cleared. "This might work," Tyler said. His voice was hoarse from hours of silence. "But I need to warn you. It's experimental. There's a chance." "Do it," Ashira said. "No hesitation. Whatever the risk, do it." Tyler injected the antitoxin directly into Car's bloodstream, then waited, watching the monitors, watching the beast's vital signs, looking for any change, any sign that it was working or failing. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Car's condition stayed critical, hovering on the edge. Then his heart rate began to stabilize. The erratic spikes smoothed out. His breathing deepened. The terrible wet rattle faded. The black discoloration on his scales stopped spreading, held, then slowly began to recede. Tyler let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. It's working. But he did not stop, kept monitoring, kept adjusting. The antitoxin needed time, needed to circulate through Car's entire system, needed to break down every molecule of poison. 6 hours after the alarm first went off, Car's breathing finally stabilized into a normal rhythm. His eyes closed, not rolled back in agony, but closed in actual sleep. The convulsions stopped. His massive body went still except for the slow rise and fall of his chest. "He'll live," Tyler said. He sagged against the wall, exhausted. His hands were shaking from adrenaline crash. He's going to need rest, monitoring, but he'll live. Ashira's shoulders dropped, all the tension bleeding out of her at once. She looked smaller somehow, vulnerable. Then she did something that made everyone in the room freeze. She reached out and took Tyler's hand, held it tight. Her skin was cool, smooth. Her grip was strong enough to hurt, but Tyler did not pull away. "Car was a gift from my mother," Ashira said. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but in the silent room, everyone heard. "Before she died, before I became this, before I became the Empress, he's all I have left of her, of who I was before the crown, before the conquests, before everything." Tyler squeezed her hand back. "He's strong. Like you, he'll be okay." She looked at him, really looked at him. Her golden eyes were wet, tears she would not let fall. "The poison was bonded," she said. "Do you understand what that means?" Tyler thought about it, about the poison structure, about how specifically it was designed. Then understanding hit him like a punch to the gut. A bond between you and Car, some kind of connection. Ashira nodded. All royal Crithians bond with their war beasts. A psychic link. What happens to one affects the other. Pain, emotion, death. Her voice went flat. This poison was designed to kill Car, and through the bond it would have killed me too. Slower, more painful, but just as certain. "You were the target," Tyler said. "Yes, and you saved us both. Again." The implication settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Someone had tried to assassinate the Empress, had gotten close enough to poison her personal war beast, had almost succeeded. The guards were already moving, securing the room, starting the investigation. By morning they would have answers. They would find who did this. And they did. 3 court officials, high-ranking, trusted. They had been planning this for months, had access to the garden, had studied Car's routines, had synthesized the poison in a private lab using stolen materials. Their execution was carried out at dawn, swift, efficient. Tyler did not watch, did not want to, but he heard about it. Everyone heard about it. That evening Ashira came to the medical bay alone. No guards, no advisors, just her. She looked tired. There were shadows under her eyes, lines on her face that had not been there yesterday. She sat in the chair beside where Tyler was monitoring Car's recovery. The beast was sleeping peacefully now, breathing normal, the black discoloration almost completely gone. "Twice now," Ashira said quietly. "You've saved my life. Once when you saved Carr in that alley. Once when you saved him tonight. Twice you've given me back what I thought I'd lost." "Just doing my job," Tyler said. "No." She shook her head. "This is more than a job. More than duty. You could have walked away in that alley. Could have let the guards handle tonight. But you didn't. You stayed. You fought. You refused to give up even when it looked hopeless." She turned to look at him. "Why?" Tyler met her gaze. "Because life matters. Because Carr matters. Because you matter. And I'm not in the habit of letting people die when I can prevent it." Ashira smiled. A real smile. Small but genuine. "You're a very strange human, Tyler Hayes." "So I've been told." They sat together in the quiet medical bay, watching Carr sleep. And for the first time since Tyler had arrived on the ship, he felt like maybe he belonged here after all. 3 months had passed since the assassination attempt. 3 months since Tyler had saved Carr's life for the second time. 3 months of living on a warship that felt less like a prison and more like something else. Something he did not have a name for yet. Tyler had stopped thinking of his stay as temporary, had stopped asking when he could leave. The clinic on Threshold Station was running better than ever with the funding Ashira had provided. Ben sent regular updates. Everything was fine. They did not need Tyler there every day. The realization had been strange, a little sad, but also freeing. He had found a routine on the ship. Morning rounds checking on Carr. Afternoons in the medical bay reviewing data and helping with the occasional patient. Evenings in the observation deck, where the windows showed the endless stars and the silence was comfortable instead of lonely. Carr went everywhere with Tyler now. The war beast had fully recovered but still refused to leave Tyler's side for long. The soldiers had gotten used to it, stopped flattening themselves against walls when the beast walked by. Some even nodded greetings. To Tyler and to Carr both. It was strange how quickly the impossible became normal. Tyler was in the observation deck reading medical journals on his datapad when Ashira found him. He did not hear her approach, just looked up and she was there, standing in the doorway, watching him with those golden eyes. Carr was sprawled across half the floor, all 12 feet of scale muscle taking up space like he owned it. The beast was snoring, a low rumbling sound that vibrated through the floor. Tyler had his back against Carr's side, using the beast as a backrest. Comfortable. "I have an offer," Ashira said. Tyler started to stand. Old habits. You stood when the Empress entered a room, but Ashira waved him back down. "Your Majesty," Tyler started. "Ashira," she said. Her voice was firm, but not unkind. "When we're alone, it's just Ashira. I've told you this before." Tyler settled back against Carr. The beast's breathing did not change, still asleep and snoring. Ashira moved into the room. She was not wearing her armor or her crown, just simple pants and a loose shirt. Her hair was pulled back in a simple tie. She looked younger like this, more approachable, less like the conqueror and more like a person. She sat down beside Tyler, not on a chair, not standing above him, just sat on the floor like it was the most natural thing in the world. The great Empress of the Crithian Empire, sitting cross-legged on the observation deck floor, chief medical officer of the Imperial Fleet, Ashira said, without preamble, full authority over all medical operations, resources, personnel, equipment, whatever you need. Name it and it's yours. Tyler set down his datapad, looked at her. "That's a big job." "It is." "That's not really me, though," Tyler said slowly. He was choosing his words carefully. "I'm not a politician, not an administrator. I help people, ordinary people, the ones who fall through cracks. A position like that, I'd spend all my time in meetings and signing reports. I wouldn't actually help anyone." Ashira nodded like she had expected this answer. "Then change it from within," she said. "Use the authority. Use the resources. But do it your way. Medical aid to the border colonies. Mobile clinics. Training programs for local medics. Reforms to make sure ordinary people get the care they need." She turned to look at him directly. I'll support it. All of it. But I need someone I trust in that position. Someone who won't use it to gain power or wealth. Someone who actually cares about the work. You trust me? Tyler asked. The question came out before he could stop it. Ashira was quiet for a moment. You've seen me at my worst, she said finally. My fear when Carr was dying. My desperation. My weakness. You've seen the woman under the crown. The person I hide from everyone else. And you never use it against me. Never ask for favors or special treatment. Never try to manipulate or control. She looked down at her hands. They were elegant hands. Strong. But there were small scars on them. Old marks from training. From fighting. From years of being what the Empire needed her to be. Everyone wants something from the Empress, Ashira continued. Power. Wealth. Status. Influence. They look at me and see what I can give them. What they can take. But you... She trailed off. Shook her head. You just wanted to save a life. First Carr's life. Then mine. You didn't ask for anything in return. Didn't expect anything. That's rare. So rare I almost didn't believe it first. Is that so strange? Tyler asked, wanting to help without expecting payment. Ashira laughed. A short sound without much humor. In my world? Yes. Very strange. Most people in my position don't even know what genuine kindness looks like anymore. We're so used to manipulation and politics that when someone shows actual compassion, we don't know how to respond. Carr's tail thumped against the floor. Still asleep, but somehow aware of the conversation happening against his side. The beast made a low rumbling sound. Content. I'll accept, Tyler said. He had made his decision. But I have conditions. Ashira raised an eyebrow. Almost smiled. Of course you do. Name them. The border colonies get priority, Tyler said. He was ticking points off on his fingers. Medical supplies. Training. Equipment. The people living on the edges of your empire deserve the same quality care as the core worlds. Agreed? I want mobile medical units. Ships that can travel to remote stations and planets. Bring care to people instead of making them travel for it. Agreed? And I want autonomy. I'll report to you, keep you informed. But I make the medical decisions, not your advisors, not your generals. Me. Ashira was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded, agreed, on all counts. They sat in silence after that, working out details, talking about implementation, about timelines and resources and logistics. The conversation stretched for hours. Outside the observation windows, the stars slid past. The ship was traveling between systems, heading somewhere Tyler had not bothered to ask about. When they finally ran out of things to discuss, they just sat. Comfortable silence. The kind you could only share with someone you trusted. Someone you knew. The galaxy fears the Empress, Tyler said eventually. He was looking out at the stars. The Iron Flame. The Conqueror. The merciless ruler. But you don't, Ashira said. Not a question. A statement. No. Tyler turned to look at her. I see who you are when no one's watching. When you think no one important is looking. I see you in the garden with Carr. See the way you touch him like he's precious. See the fear in your eyes when he was dying. That's not the Empress. That's Ashira. That's the person under all the armor and titles and expectations. Something shifted in Ashira's expression. Softened. She reached over and took Tyler's hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. Her grip was gentle but firm. A simple gesture. People held hands all the time. But from her, from the Empress who ruled an empire and showed weakness to no one, it meant everything. Stay, she said quietly. The word was almost a whisper. Not as a prisoner. Not as a guest. As a partner. Help me be better than I was. Help me remember who I was before the crown. Before the wars. Before I became the Iron Flame. Tyler squeezed her hand. I'm not going anywhere. Cars I cracked open. One golden, I regarding them both with what might have been approval, might have been amusement. Hard to tell with a war beast. Then the eye closed and Carr went back to snoring. They sat there as the ship sailed through space. The feared Empress and the human medic who had saved her beast and somehow along the way had saved her too. Two people who should never have met, should never have trusted each other, but did anyway. Outside the windows, the stars stretched endlessly, infinite, beautiful, cold. Inside the observation deck it was warm, comfortable, safe. Ashira leaned her head against Tyler's shoulder. He did not move, did not pull away, just sat there holding her hand and watching the stars. "Thank you," she whispered, so quiet he almost missed it. "For what?" "For seeing me, not the Empress, not the Conqueror, just me. That's the only version worth knowing," Tyler said. Something new was beginning, a partnership, a friendship, maybe eventually something more. But for now this was enough. Sitting together in comfortable silence, two people finding peace in each other's company while a war beast snored at their feet. The ship jumped to hyperspace. Reality twisted. The stars stretched into lines of light. And through it all Tyler and Ashira sat together, hand in hand, facing whatever came next. Together, the word felt right, felt true. Together they would change things, make the Empire better, help the people who needed it most. Use power for good instead of conquest. It would not be easy. There would be resistance, politics, fights. But Tyler had never backed down from a challenge, and Ashira had conquered 47 systems. Together, they could handle a few stubborn bureaucrats. Car's tail thumped one more time, then settled. The beast was fully asleep now, content in a way he had never been before Tyler arrived. The observation deck was quiet except for the hum of the engines and Car's steady breathing. Tyler closed his eyes, let himself relax, let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, he had found where he belonged. Not on Threshold Station, not on Earth, but here, on a warship traveling between the stars, with an Empress who showed him her true self and a war beast who trusted him completely. Home was not a place. It was people, and Tyler had found his people. He was not going anywhere.